Well, hello, world. Um, this isn't going to be too short, probably not too long, but I was watching a video about Candace Owen up on a stage with a bunch of other black celebrities, and she's talking about how um, the Mexican vote is the new black vote, and that the black the black American vote in the world, in the United States, this vote coming up with Trump and at the end of the year is so important on the black people, because if they vote for him, they can start making a headway back to their prosperity that used to be before the civil rights movement. And I'm not saying the civil rights movement was bad, I'm just saying that it was used to make things better by getting rid of more racism in our government. But what it did was make people, and I don't want to say black people because it didn't just happen to them, right around the civil rights movement and then the 60s. I mean, and the whole hippie movement for the white people, if you want to call it that. The civil rights for them and the hippie movement, where the black people were getting, the white people were getting behind the blacks to prove their point. And in doing so, they made them feel like they were still being oppressed, even though it had already come so far. In such a short time, considering how young our country is, because we're still not even from the signing of the Declaration of Independence, the Second Continental Congress, because the first one was to appoint George Washington as our president and commander-in-chief, because he was the commander-in-chief of the army at the time. It's kind of funny how that works, huh? Anyways, and then most everyone that signed that declaration, except for very few that didn't, and I forget how many it was. I think it was like 45, 50 different people signed it, but I could be wrong. I'm not the best historian, and that's probably why I was never a scholar and never went to college, because I get the gist of it. I know what it is. And so anyways, what happened was you had a country that come from a bunch of different people, mostly Christians, that came over here to start a country where they're saying, you know what, I'm going to allow you to be who you want to be if you allow me to be who I want to be. And that even though happiness is not guaranteed, the pursuit of it shall be protected under this Constitution. And if we all just leave each other alone to do what we want to do with our lives, as much as that doesn't affect somebody else, because you're always going to have evils out there, that is an amazing thing that is super young, that got destroyed by trying to circumvent that original idea. And not destroyed completely, because there's still people out there like me that believe in Jesus and believe in God and believe that I trust in God, especially with my money. That's why it says it on there, because the ultimate sign of the serpent in the Bible is money, is currency, because you don't need to live. You don't need to buy or sell anything. If you have the means, you can make your own nails. You could cut your own wood, or just use wood for nails. And that is how you could go about your life. You didn't need to buy or do anything. And if somebody was offering you something for your services or for their services, you knew that it came at a price, that when you could obviously do it for yourself. So anyways, that's a little backstory on the whole thing. This is like but what she was saying is very true, and and you hear this all the time. Trump built the wall, blah blah blah. Guess what? Trump only finished building the wall that was initially first started and started talking about it back during Clinton's campaign, you know, and then it moved on to Bush, and he got even more, and then eventually got on to Obama. And whether you want to believe it or not, because Trump said he finished building those walls, or he built a lot of walls, but there's not been a president that funded more wall building than Obama. And you can call this a lie or whatever it is, look it up. It's true. And even Trump used that as like, hey, I did this. Although, yes, he did. He was the contractor that came in and finished those major portions of wall that were originally funded way back during the Clinton administration, and more than any of the other past 3 administrations under Obama, who funded even more of it. But they only funded it. They never actually did it. And it's a double-edged sword, because this is the way I see it. So if you build a wall and then you don't have the infrastructure to effectively, efficiently, and affordably get the good ones through, then it really doesn't serve its purpose. And if you don't build a wall and you allow everybody to come through, good and bad, then that's even worse. For one, it's not effective because you're allowing everybody to get through. You don't have the infrastructure because you're always trying to, if you have them working on it, you're always trying to have everybody that's working on the border to get the good ones through and to make sure the bad ones don't come through. Spend more time stopping the bad ones. And it's definitely not affordable, like crazy not affordable. That doesn't work either. But we all know that no walls, no security, no vetting is worse. It just says, look at it now. So yeah, I would say it's good and it's bad, but I think a combination of the two is great. But mostly the combination is the people on the border protecting it, which we already have our military. Protect this country against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And any more domestic has to be the better. I did a post about this a while back. Anyways, and on top of that, there's 3 more things that I would say that would encompass and make it worse to not have a wall. And let everybody not have a wall and just let everybody run in and out, the good and the bad. The first one is you have all these Homeland Security and Border Patrol people and all these different things, and if you don't have anybody vetting anybody, all those people that used to vet are now just sitting around waiting for the few good ones that are coming through legally, because they still are. And then you have all these border agents, the guys trying to keep the bad guys out, just sitting around not being able to do anything because federally our government has allowed them to just come through, and then they can't do anything. So they want to do it. But what also that means is the affordable definitely goes out the fucking window, because all these people are just sitting around wanting to do something, feeling the need to do something, feeling good, having good families, not working themselves to death, even though they are, because we don't fund them properly. We don't have the right amount of people on the border.
It's not that we don't want the good ones to come through. It's not that we don't understand that there's good ones. It's if you just forget about everything and just sit around and argue about it and know that there's money flying to it, guess what? All that money is coming from our taxes. And you can't help anybody else if you can't help yourself. If you don't have the energy, the power. And where is all of this coming from? A majority of it is coming from the poor man's salary that is taxed twice. And that is before it ever gets to your hands. Because your boss has to pay taxes on everything, on the money he pays you, because he earned that money. So he has to pay taxes on that money. And then he taxes you because you're working. Then the government taxes you again because you earned a salary. Doesn't really make any sense, does it? Anyways, so we got all these people doing nothing that are trained to do these things. And yeah, they're not all perfect people, but they're just trying to do the best they can with what they have. And the less you fund things like that, it doesn't work either. Plus, that's a lot of money. Secondly, if you let all the good ones through with all the bad ones, first of all, the good ones are usually the poor people trying to escape something, coming to America to have something better, to have laws where people have consequences with those laws. Even good people. Way too many, if you ask me. All the stuff we have laws for and we pay money for is ridiculous. But that's another one of my stories too. Check it out. You might like it, you might not. Anyways, so then you have those people coming through being exploited. Most of the children coming across, 80% of them go missing as soon as they get across the border or as they're trying to cross the border. And they pay a lot of money to all the cartels to come to a border and to get through it, even though they can just walk through freely. You see it with the wristbands. It doesn't make any sense. The only ones that suffer are the people that are just the good ones that are trying to come here for a better way of life that comes with laws and understandings that you can come here and make a lot of money, do whatever you want, pray to whoever you want, be whatever gender you want, be whatever sexual orientation you want, as long as you don't disrespect or my beliefs and the fact that this country was built on Christian values. And I'll get a lot of crap for this. I would say Judeo-Christian values, but no, most of the people that were coming over here weren't Jewish people during the revolution and all that stuff like that. They weren't Jewish people. They were Christians. And a lot of them were Protestants who were running away from the Christian and Catholic churches because of the atrocities that they were doing. It had nothing to do with God. And I heard this once before, that even that because Jews are the chosen one, they don't even recognize, they recognize Catholicism, but they don't really recognize Christianity as a true religion. And I may be wrong, but I know I heard that somewhere. I know I heard that by a Jewish scholar. And those people, they know they're getting corrupted. They know all this. They come here. I even I watched a video on YouTube the other day of these Honduras people in Chicago. They have all these nice clothes on. They have a cell phone. They have all this stuff like that. But they're living in the streets because we can't even afford to pay for them places for them to live. We can't even afford that. We just drop them off all over the nation. And I'll probably get this one taken down for that too. So I'll try to save it. So maybe I can post it again. It's weird how it works sometimes. But I'm not hating on anyone. I'm just saying these people know they're getting exploited. They're not not only that, if it was legal for them to vote without an ID, and I know some of them are actually getting, I know in California they used to give them, you were able to get a driver's license or an ID without even being a legal immigrant or a green card holder, somebody working here, because the money's better here than living in their country, which we allow to do too, you know. And that doesn't just happen with people in South America. No, it happens with people. There's people like my sister-in-law, who lives with me. She's from England, and she's here on a green card, just working, and she used to send her money back, but she's just here because it's terrible over there too. I'm just saying, it's not just South Americans that are here on green cards and we're trying to become citizens here, which the process is ungodly long to become a citizen. And most Americans don't even know half the stuff that's on the citizenship test or the questions. And I would say, even if I got asked on most of them, that I wouldn't know either. And that upsets me too. But so you have that. You have these people getting exploited, coming through freely, the good ones. They're disappearing all this time. They're getting sent up, but they're seeing that this is no different than where they came from. The only difference is, at least where they came from, the bad guys don't hide the fact too much that they're the bad guys. Now, thirdly, and this is probably the worst one of them all, and probably the easiest to explain. The bad ones that are coming here are doing atrocities on everybody in America. They don't care who you are. They just know that they can steal, rob, and do all that stuff because we've already defunded our police. We've already turned it to the fact, in most places, where they can do whatever they want and they don't even have to worry about it. And this country is so much more richer, so easier to steal from other countries, because at least the places they come from, for the most part, what are they going to steal? No one has anything. They do everything with their hands. That's why artisanship is so huge down there. People making stuff just to feed themselves and maybe a little bit other. That's why I love Mexican food so much, because most of it, not the Americanized stuff, most of it is just good, wholesome food that people are making. They can make a decent dollar on it. That's why they do so good everywhere. But the bad guys are just here to do bad stuff, and then to bring in more bad stuff, to bring in more fentanyl, to bring in more drugs, to grab more innocent children, not only from the ones they're helping bring in, but the ones that are here. And that isn't anything or anything. It's not efficient, it's not effective, it's not affordable, and it's just downright wrong. You have to help yourself, protect yourself, love yourself before you can do that for anybody else. So follow in Jesus' way. Know that you're not God, and realize that with all truth comes consequences, good and bad. And if you know this and stop putting so much emphasis on yourself that you have to fix the world at all costs, even though what you're saying and doing, it doesn't make sense, because you're trying to control free will. You're trying to control what somebody else does to protect something you have. You know what I'm saying? At all costs. It's hard for me to say this, knowing that, for one, it's probably going to fall on a lot of deaf ears. 2, I'm going to get a lot of hate for it. And 3, and it's not just hate from the people that don't believe in my God. It's hate from the people that believe in my God, and the people that believe in the same God as I do. in different ways. And it's hard, but somebody has to say it, because you got the one side is like build a wall, but you understand what the infrastructure of building a wall like that and maintaining it. You can't just build a wall and expect not somebody to figure out how to get over it. Not to mention that most Mexicans that are in California have turned that place from a desert into a wasteland. I mean, not a wasteland, but basically a mirage. It's this oasis in the desert. But if you look too deep of it, it comes at a very high cost. And the majority of the people there are below poverty level in one of the richest states in the United States. Well, probably not anymore, because nobody wants to do that. No one wants to live there anymore. And the funny thing is, I found out when I moved here to Michigan from California, is that there was a lot of Latino Americans living here, thriving here, having businesses here. And you don't have that crime here. You don't have those Mexican gangs and all that stuff like you do in California. You have them a little bit, but they're starting to become new, because these guys been here for generations. One of my really good buddies, Primo, and his name's Raphael, but I just call him Primo, man, because he's the man. Anyways, one of my really good buddies is he has a great family. I love them all. We have parties all the time, and by all the time, a couple times a year. Either I go over to his house or he comes over to my house, and I make him my food. He makes me his food, and I drink his beer. He drinks my beer. It's an amazing, cool thing. But by allowing all these people to just come through and not do any of that, this whole system doesn't work. It only benefits the rich and powerful. And you all know, if you're living way under your means, like if you have so much money that you could take care of your family 1,000 times over. And I'm just thinking, what I make a year, it's roughly, with my retirement, it's probably roughly around, I think at the highest, when I was really kicking ass, when I was a little bit younger, I was making about $58 a year. And that's with a full retirement from the military and disability. It doesn't work for me, and I need somebody to hear it other than the people around me. And I get a lot of hate for it, but I don't want there to be hate. I just want people to realize that if you're trying to do something trying to win something at all costs, no matter whatever else gets destroyed around you, it doesn't work either. It doesn't allow for free will. It doesn't allow for freedom. Because freedom is truly just free will. It gives God's free will to you, gives you the freedom to do as you will, as long as you realize that you can never be God. So you're always striving to do better. And then have Jesus in the mix, and who has died for your sins. So you don't have to be God. You don't have to try to be God. You don't even have to try to be anything. You just have to be good in yourself and realize that you're not worthy. But if you live your life like that, truly knowing that you're not worthy, and you pray to Him for His love, it's on you. And that is the most amazing thing to me. And that concept came to me way too late in life. But you know what? I'm going to do a lot with it because of technology. And I'd rather be in the woods building a log cabin with my son, or shooting, or being on the lake, not on a boat, but being on the lake, hiking around and fishing and trying to find the fish. And I don't own my own home. You think I would after 20 years in the military and 10 years of being a high-end mason. You'd think I would, but I don't. But I'm pretty darn happy. And up until the last year, I'm pretty darn healthy too. So I'm old. I'm old in life more than I am in years. But a lot of people don't understand that. But then again, I look a lot older than I am too. So, but I don't act like it. So may God bless us all. One love, one race, under Him. For all you racists out there, all I'm saying is the human race. Take it how you will because of my skin color, but I still love you all. Have a good day.